James Helder, IFL TV, in association with MTK Global. We're in Belfast today. With me, I've got broadcaster John Rawling. Firstly, Happy New Year. How are you, sir?
Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, I'm very well. Managed to escape the festive lurgy, and I'm back in fighting form. Yeah.
What did you do at Christmas? Talk us a little bit about your break, your routine.
I spent quite a lot of it lying in bed, actually, feeling rather sorry for myself with this flu bug that everybody else had, and then just chilled out with my children. Since then, I've actually been commentating on a bit of darts down at Lakeside, and now getting back into the full swing of boxing.
What was the BDO like at Lakeside? What was it like, the event? Good?
It was a great atmosphere, yeah. Brilliant atmosphere.
Good on the telly.
It was very good, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the sport that we're here to work on today, boxing. Carl Frampton taking on Donaire. Massive fight and big chance for Carl Frampton to get himself back into the spotlight. Excited about this fight?
Absolutely, yeah. Great fight for Belfast. It's always a special atmosphere when we come over here, and I think this will be no exception. April 21st at the SSE Arena. It's sure to be a sellout. It's going to be a tremendous occasion. And Carl, again, he's moving potentially towards a big world title fight in the summer at Windsor Park. That's the outline plan anyway. But he's got to come through this, and Donaire has been an outstanding fighter for many, many years. First won a world title in 2007. He's been a world champion at 4 weights. He's only ever had 3 defeats in his career, and he's still, he's still a very live fighter.
Do you have more respect for Carl Frampton, the fact he's taken on Donaire, when there were many easier fights out there for him at this point, especially with the winner of sort of Selby, Warrington waiting in the wings?
Well, to be honest, I expected him to have an easier fight than this, because his last one against Garcia was tough. He had to dig pretty deep to come through that. He got a unanimous points decision, but I think it was a little bit harder than Carl had thought it was going to be. And yeah, he needs to come through and look good as he moves on to the winner of Selby and Warrington, which is likely to be this summer. But I think Carl himself would say that he needs fights that he can get up for. He needs to be tested, and this Donaire fight will certainly do that.
It's great because we thought we obviously missed the window for the Frampton and Donaire fight when it was spoke about originally. So it's gone full circle, and the fact we are finally getting them both in the ring together is fantastic.
Well, big names, aren't they? And it's a fight which will have worldwide impact. I'm sure American television will come in and be watching it as well. It's one which they're going to be watching on the other side of the Atlantic, and wherever Carl goes, ultimately he'll want to fight Leo Santa Cruz. That's the big test somewhere on the horizon. If he comes through everything before then, you can guarantee that Leo Santa Cruz will be watching this one and having a look at 2 potential opponents and seeing just what Carl's got left.
If he has got aspirations to get that third fight with Leo Santa Cruz, surely he must beat Donaire convincingly and look great doing it.
Well, that would be the aim, and I'm sure Carl and his trainer Jamie Moore will say that he's got that in the locker and that he's going to do that. They will hope that Donaire is perhaps not quite the fighter that he was 2 or 3 years ago, and that Carl is getting back to the sort of form which carried him to those great victories and made him a 2-weight world champion.
Bit unfortunate the fact that Amir Khan's going to be boxing on the same night. Do you think promoters and teams should try to work together to make sure dates don't clash in the future?
I think it is a shame, but I think boxing fans will know that this is the fight with 2 named fighters. Who Amir is going to get remains to be seen. I think they've got to be very, very careful with Amir as to who they put him in with, because after the defeat against Canelo, he's done nothing for over 2 years. And let's not forget, that was a shocking knockout. Until he gets in the ring, you really don't know what Amir Khan has got left. I think it is a shame, because this is a genuine world-class fight. But boxing fans know, they'll be watching this one, I'm sure.
We were anticipating an announcement regarding Lee Selby to take on Josh Warrington. That potentially great clash. How do you see that one playing out?
Well, it's a fascinating one, isn't it? I mean, Lee looked pretty good in his last fight, but Josh is the sort of fighter who's going to give him real tests, because one thing you know about Josh is that he's got a fantastic engine, he will take the fight to Lee right the way from the first bell for however long it goes. And I think the fact that it is likely to be in Leeds and that he'll have home support, that's surely going to play in Josh's favour. I think when the fight comes down, I think the bookies will probably have Lee Selby as a narrow favourite. But home support, it could count for a lot. I think it'll be a great fight. I can't wait.
Now, you mentioned the home support thing. Lee Selby is very well travelled. We've seen him go out to the States to box. He said he had no qualms to come in to Belfast to face Frampton. Do you expect that home advantage to be pivotal to the victory for Warrington, or do you think Selby will have enough in the locker to negate that?
I'm not sure it's going to affect Lee Selby, but I think it'll affect Josh. I think the fact that he's going to go out there in front of 10, 12,000 fans or more if it winds up being outside at a football stadium, but wherever it is, he's going to get that passionate support, and I think it matters. I think it matters a lot for Josh. I think that's the factor in that fight. I think Lee will perform. We know what Lee does, and he will perform very well. He's a very slick boxer, and he seems unaffected, as you say, as to where the fight's going to be. But Josh, I think, could really get carried along on a tide of passionate support, and that's going to make it a fascinating fight.
We've seen the Copper Box show announced with Daniel Dubois, Anthony Yard, Bradley Skeet, amongst a whole heap of other talent. Do you think it's important that we see these lads stepped up in quality of opposition and bigger fights for them this year?
Well, it's going to happen, isn't it? I think that's inevitable. Bradley Skeet is going to be getting a big fight somewhere down the line, that's guaranteed. Daniel Dubois and Anthony Yard, they've done everything that's been put in front of them so far and looked extremely impressive in so doing. And Anthony Yard in particular, I think he's going to be pushed into a massive fight before too long. And he's got the sort of following, and indeed Daniel Dubois is starting to get that sort of following as well. They've got the support of the public, and they're starting to really excite the boxing public as to what they might be able to do.
Potential return of Tyson Fury we've seen as well. Exciting times. Be good to, from your point of view, to see the big man back in the ring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, let's see him get that license back, and let's see him boxing. I think the important thing, whatever he might be saying and whatever the publicity might be coming out about him wanting to fight Anthony Joshua tomorrow, I think what he really needs to do is get 2 or 3 fights under his belt, get himself ring sharp, get himself properly fit, and then take it from there, because it's I mean, there's a huge amount on the line, and there's a lot of interest in the heavyweight division at the moment. Of course, there's Joseph Parker, who's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua, but Deontay Wilder, he's got a fight himself coming up shortly, and Wilder is very much in the mix. And so far as Tyson Fury is concerned, he says that he thinks that if they were to fight tomorrow, that Wilder would beat Anthony Joshua. So, you know, it's a fascinating thing. I have my own views, but I'll keep those to myself for the moment.
Tyson Fury's a brilliant student of the game. We know he studies the game inside out, from boxing history to fights that have occurred recently and stuff. Do you think that he genuinely believes that, or do you think he's taking a pot shot at Anthony Joshua with those comments?
No, I think he believes it. I really think he's genuine, and I tell you what, I think if, and this is a sizable if, but he's working hard at it, if Tyson can get back into the sort of shape that he was in when he fought Wladimir Klitschko, if he can do that, then his boxing talents might just once again see him rise absolutely to the top.
Do you still believe his achievements in beating Wladimir Klitschko in Dusseldorf were downplayed?
I don't think he got the credit he deserved, absolutely not. And let's be honest, he beat Wladimir Klitschko, a younger Wladimir Klitschko, a lot more comfortably than Anthony Joshua did. Anthony Joshua showed amazing fighting heart in getting up and beating Klitschko, but I bet if you spoke to Wladimir right now, he'd still be wondering how on earth he couldn't find the punch to put Anthony Joshua away. And Tyson, the previous year, he hadn't schooled him, but he'd won fairly comfortably. And when you looked at them at the end of the fight, Tyson was absolutely unmarked. Wladimir Klitschko looked as though he'd been on the receiving end, which of course he was.
That's a very good point. And isn't mentioned a little bit how much damage Tyson Fury did with that jab to Wladimir Klitschko in that fight?
Well, it's a formidable weapon. And Wladimir was always used to being the one who out-jabbed everybody. He couldn't do that to Tyson Fury because Tyson's technically good. He's got good balance. He's got good movement, lateral movement, and he can switch hit. You know, he's a handful for anybody. Remember how he beat Derek Chisora second time round? He fought him exclusively southpaw. There's not too many heavyweights could do that.
It's going to be a great contest here in Belfast on the 21st of April. Thank you very much for giving me some time today, John. Always a great pleasure, sir.
Cheers, mate.
Look forward to catching you soon.
All right, cheers.